1. For the first time ever, I started work as a server. It's at a specialty taco joint. In general, the job has been fine, about what I expected, except I have unexpectedly developed a severe hatred for the cannabis subculture. High people are by far the worst customers I have to deal with. They're even worse than a family with several little kids. They don't read off the menu and ask for things that aren't on it, then ask if it's possible to get that anyway. I guess because they're so high, they literally don't know where they are and have forgotten how to fucking read. This isn't Taco Bell. No, we don't have something that is just meat and cheese. I try to be nice and accommodate them by modifying an actual menu item, leading to such exchanges. I can do the beef tinga, take off everything else, and add Chihuahua cheese. I only want meat and cheese. Yes, that's what I can do. I also want lettuce. Oh, okay, and lettuce. And sour cream. Sure, and sour cream. Okay, so I got the beef, cheese, lettuce, and sour cream. I also want lettuce. If it is not possible to custom create the one thing their stupefied brain can actually come up with, they freeze in astonishment and leave it to the server to solve their sudden existential crisis. This really can only be solved by them leaving the restaurant, one can dream. They don't make eye contact. They stare at the table and mumble, making the process of figuring out what the fuck they want even more difficult. When they do receive their food, the sight of it baffles them further. They stare at it for a few moments before muttering a protest, because even though this is what they asked for, it wasn't what their blissed-out synapses alluded to. Their words make no sense, servers' responses don't register, and they just can't seem to grasp that this is their reality now, and they have to deal with it. Meanwhile, I hope in vain they get on the same page with the rest of actuality, trying my best to convince them that this is what they're going to eat. I mean, it's quite possible to just bring them fucking anything. They've become too dense to know the difference. It goes without saying, they don't tip. God damn, I can't imagine what it's like in places like Colorado, where weed has been legal for a while, and have had caravans of weed tourists overdosing on edibles. I have always been pro-legislation and a defender of cannabis, but this job is seriously making me rethink that. Fuck you, you stone fucks. You're exactly what the prohibitionists think you are. Also, do they really think they don't reek having just hotboxed a blunt before coming in? Do they not care that they do? Are they too ripped to tell the difference? The stench literally infiltrates the fucking kitchen. 2. Had one of the weirdest tables today. Starting off, they had 3 people and were waiting on one and decided to hold off on any drinks before she got there. Right as she walks in, before she even sits, they start flagging me down. Not a big deal, whatever. Next, the woman orders a Pinot Blanc, and I confirm with her which bottle and even point at the menu. She says, yes, that one. I put it in, and my manager goes to the table. The woman tells him she wanted a Chardonnay. It takes our some a while, but they end up picking 2 other bottles of wine again. No big deal, there must have been a misunderstanding. I come back to the table and get their food order. No one says anything else, and all seems good except when their first course is brought out. They ask to put the food on hold until they're done with their business. They have a small meeting with papers, talking about who knows what for 15 minutes. I check with them and they confirm they're ready for their food now. At this point I'm annoyed with them, but I've dealt with this before so I don't let it frazzle me and continue my service. I check with the table twice during their 2 courses to see if everything is good, and the old man at the table throws me a dirty look each time I ask them anything. Okay. They ask my manager for dessert menus and insist he not take any plates away. They order 1 dessert and I bring it out. They seem perturbed and ask for fresh plates. I oblige and take them away and bring fresh ones. Then one lady, seemingly perplexed, asks me if they can have serving spoons for the dessert in addition to their dessert spoons. I bring those as well, and then she asks if I'm bringing the 2nd dessert, which I know they did not order. I say of course, our pastry chef is working on it now and get it to them in record time. At this point, I'm wondering if they're messing with me or if they're just beyond confused in a restaurant at the ripe age of 60. Finally, they finish, and the one kind woman at the table who responded when I asked questions pays, and they go on their merry way. When I come to the table after my manager has cleaned it off a bit, I see no receipt, and only a smashed ball that I unraveled that has a 20-ish% tip in it. My manager admits maybe he crumpled it while cleaning, but I don't know. My coworkers thought they were snobby and possibly racist, but I try not to jump to conclusions. 3. One time, when I was working at an Italian restaurant and brewery in Laguna Beach, California, one of my Sunday morning regulars came in. He had long hair and a beard and spoke with a thick Russian accent. He was from Russia or Bosnia or some shit like that. Super cool guy and a great tipper. As I said, he would come every Sunday morning and have espresso and read his international newspaper. There was a newsstand on Pacific Coast Highway and Ocean Avenue, where he would get it and then come and sit on the patio and do his Sunday ritual. I worked on Friday and Saturday nights for the good payouts. The place was always packed, so I did well. The deal was I would work opening on Sunday morning to get those coveted shifts. My good friend and his wife owned the place, so I could pretty much get away with anything. Or so I thought. So my Russian friend came in, newspaper tucked under his arm on Sunday morning. He was all smiles and really excited. He told me he would be joined by a friend of his who is an actor, and I say, cool. And I'm happy for him because he seemed so excited. I was checking on him and my other 3 tables, and after about 20 minutes, this huge blonde mountain of a man comes onto the patio. My Russian friend stands up, they hug and laugh, and he sits down. I walk over and my Russian friend introduces me to his friend. I don't really recognize him, but he kinda looks familiar. Anyhow, I bring out a round of our craft beer and they proceed to drink pretty heavily. I can see they're having a good time and enjoying each other's company. As I head out to check on them again, the blonde guy asks for vodka. I say, I'm sorry, all we serve here is beer and wine. At that time, we didn't have a full liquor license. My Russian friend looks at me, smiles and says, maybe you can help us out. Maybe vodka. And slips me a $100 bill and winks. I look over my shoulder and everything was mellow with my tables, and the head chef and manager was in the back. I went to the bar and told the bartender that I had to run a quick errand and will be right back. In a flash, I was at the grocery store across the street buying tequila. I prefer it over vodka, so I was choosing what we were drinking. I rushed back to the restaurant and hid the bottle in my apron, got 3 glasses, went back to the table, and did shots on the patio with my Russian friend and his actor buddy. They asked why no vodka, and I said, sorry about that, I forgot you asked for vodka. If I was putting my ass on the line, I was going to go down drinking what I like. After 4 shots apiece and a few beers, it didn't matter. We were all pretty happy and buzzed, with the exception of Luigi, the head chef and Sunday manager. I loved the guy. He was a real Italian hard-ass, but I was young and he was really old school. Fucker was like 85 working there. He was a very accomplished chef before there were celebrity chefs. Cooked for princes and royalty, no lie. He couldn't get a job anywhere else because he was so damn old. He even had a 35-year-old wife and a 5-year-old. Fucking Luigi. He just smoked his cigarette, scowled at me, and didn't say shit. Finally, after them getting nice and drunk, they got up to leave. I gave them their bill, tried to give him the change from the booze purchase, but he said keep it, and tipped me another $100. They got up and left after heading for the Irish pub 3 doors down. It finally hit me who he was, the blonde actor. I laughed, cleared the table, and I thought I was in the clear. As I was in the kitchen, nice and buzzed, waiting to take out an order, Luigi was there on the phone talking loud and fast in Italian. He put the phone down and said, Johnny wants to speak with you. I sobered up real quick. It was my friend, the owner. I took the phone. Hello? Johnny, or Johnny, as Luigi would say, screamed at me for a good 5 minutes, talking about losing his license, fines, breaking the law, etc. I just let him go to town on me until he was out of breath. When I finally replied, my only response was, John, what could I do? It was the guy who shocked Rambo on the metal bed frame. He wanted booze. He is a customer, so I had to accommodate. He shocked Rambo! He wasn't having it. Long story a little longer, I was taken off of Sunday morning opening shift. I know it's not a customer horror story, but it's one where we do whatever it takes to make the customer happy. At least I got to sleep in on Sundays after that Saturday night shift, so I guess it kinda worked out. 4. This happened when I was around 19 years old at a seafood restaurant. Think like Papa Dough or anything around that price range in attire for staff. White orange starched shirt, tie, black pants. It was, obviously, about 2 days until Christmas. We were pretty busy. I was pretty new, but I'd been waitressing since 16. I always try to make sure no one feels like they're a bother for asking me for anything. My intention is to get them everything they need, so they have no "I wish I would have asked for," and they aren't able to focus on enjoying our awesome food, still my favorite seafood restaurant to this day. At around 8 p.m., a middle-aged couple came in, and I greeted them quickly after they were seated. She was often resting her head on her hand while he splayed his legs out in a wooden chair and leaned back with a sigh before I approached. From the very beginning, they were both super amicable and kind, but they seemed wore out from the day's errands. I started out by, of course, welcoming them and asking them what they'd like to drink. They lock eyes with each other, and the husband takes a breath and says, "I would like water, please. I'm super thirsty." To which the wife nods solemnly. She ended up requesting a sweet tea. I take a second to write it down, confirm with them, and thank them for coming in. When I return with their drinks and set them on the table, he picks it up and downs the entire thing in front of me. We're talking about 5 seconds between picking it up and finishing it. He sheepishly looks at me and asks, "I'm gonna need these to keep coming. I'm so sorry, I'm so incredibly thirsty today. I just got out of major surgery, so this is my first time having anything to drink all day." Now, for those who don't know, general anesthesia requires a patient to not eat or drink anything after midnight of the day of the surgery. This poor man was at this restaurant at 8 p.m. with 0 liquids for the day. I shuddered at the thought of being that thirsty. They proceeded to tell me other details of their day, his operation, and I also took their food order as I figured they must be starving. The whole time, although exhausted and famished, they never once made me feel rushed and treated me like their friend. That kind of warmth is such an awesome feeling while serving. So instead of replacing his glass constantly, to his perceived embarrassment and guilt at working me harder than he believes he should, I thought I would try something different. We had carafes at the bar for a party beer menu item that served 4 to 5 people with whatever they preferred on tap. After putting their order in, I grabbed 2, filled one up with water and one with ice, so that they could use both. Bringing it to the table, I also brought 2 glassies just in case. I'm the just-in-case kind of server. She wanted some as well. They didn't notice me walk up, enamored with each other and holding hands across the table. When I set the items in front of them, his eyes opened up wide, and the biggest grin broke out on his previously spent expression. "Now that's what I'm talking about," he erupted while pumping a fist into the air. I laughed and explained that I wanted him to have all the water he needs without having to wait for me to refill glass after glass. They both thanked me graciously, and for the rest of their time there, they happily enjoyed their meals and roped me into great conversation every time I checked on them. To this day, they are one of my favorite customer experiences. After I dropped their final receipt, I wished them well and a Merry Christmas. I told them to take it easy and feel free to come back to see me any time. They left while I was in the back. Making my rounds, I picked up the signed receipt that was held in a leather book and opened it. A $100 bill peeked out behind the paper, which had a big "thank you" written on the bottom, easily a 150% tip. I had been struggling to pay for my medication, and had come to terms that I would be without it for that month. With this wonderful gesture, I was able to buy my medicine and eat well for Christmas. Probably unbeknownst to them, they actually saved my entire holiday. I cried softly as I cleaned off their table and wished I could have caught them leaving to give them both hugs. To all customers who go out of their way to show their thanks, we appreciate it more than you know. Thanks for listening. Cheers. 5. I worked as a cook in a restaurant that didn't exactly make a lot of profit. Due to various reasons, the place was super busy and packed almost every evening, but they didn't have a lot of income, so the owners would always penny pinch and make a buck at every turn. I've got a bunch of stories about some of the crap that happened there, but I thought you'd really appreciate this one. We had a very busy Friday night. We were about 2 hours from close and everything was starting to die down. Front and back end were tired, but we saw the end was in sight and booked it forwards. I had sent my other cook home, as we were expected to save money, when the rush started to taper off, so I just started slowly closing down cleaning. Side note, I cooked at the bar, so I had full view and hearing of the restaurant. There was a back-end kitchen where 2 other guys worked, but one of them were sent home as well, so just me in the front and the one guy in the back. Some of the servers were being cut as well. We got a phone call, and one of the owners answered, wrote some things down and hung up, with a smile from ear to ear.
Guys, we're staying open late tonight. We've got a hockey team of about 20 to 22 coming in, and they're all hungry.
This was met by groans and cries and looks of horror from everyone, as we just sent literally half of our staff home. Not to mention, we had just finished a very busy dinner rush. The owner shrugged it off and said we were doing it. Suck it up. This pissed a lot of people off, as some of us had plans after work, and others straight up had the mindset that we were almost done. We want to go the fuck home. But the owner was adamant and said everyone could do this one table and go home after. So we picked ourselves up, swallowed our anger, and finished up with the last of the tables we had left. Everyone was gone. We stopped taking new tables, so we just kinda hung out for 30 minutes, cleaning and getting ourselves ready for close, as we could without hindering our ability to serve these guys. About 15 minutes after we had closed, they arrived, and boy howdy did they arrive. See, the owner didn't ask any questions aside from how many were in this hockey team. So when one adult and 20 kids aged 10 to 12 walked through the door, you can imagine he was surprised, to say the least. The rest of the staff, me in the back, howled with laughter, as we knew the owner hoped to sell beers and drinks galore. Instead, we served 21 glasses of water and about 10 appies that were shared amongst everyone. After all was said and done, they had 21 individual bills, which cost the restaurant in transaction fees, where the prices of the appies were split between who ate them, where each kid paid the exact change and the one adult left the servers a $20 tip, thanked the staff, and then left. In the end, I'm pretty sure the 30 minutes of the staff twiddling our thumbs, the extra hour we worked for, and the 21 bills ended up being a loss in revenue. The owner was furious when they left, saying we were never going to do that again, but we found the whole thing to be so funny that it was worth it. Also, I guess the one adult escorting the kids offered the owners free passes to the next hockey game, so there's that. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, episode 147. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. If you enjoyed the video, then please do like, subscribe, and comment in any order that you please. I'm not going to judge you if you comment, then subscribe, or if you like it, then you comment. Everybody has their own thing, and that's what makes the world go round, right? And before we go on, I'd like to give a little shout out to the author of the story with the vodka, and that is Reddit user MFG666. Thank you very much, MFG666, for letting us use your story. Okay, anyway, this is a Saturday, quite literally is a Saturday as I'm recording this, and we will have a gaming stream later, but we'll do it a little bit different than usual. I don't have my super fancy camera yet for actually making videos with, but I am using my smartphone camera to do streams with, and that's actually not too bad quality. So we're going to have we'll have freezer cam in one fashion or another while we're playing probably spoopy games later, or whatever game I come up with. Gotta admit, the two games I play the most, Phasmophobia and No Man's Sky, I'm getting a little bit bored with them, but they're continually putting out new content. There's allegedly a new No Man's Sky update coming out at some point, who knows, whenever. And the same with Phasmophobia, there's updates coming, who knows when. They've been teasing things on Twitter with redesigning pretty much everything about the game. That's the impression I get. And I think it's going to get a complete overhaul. And I guess we'll see what they come up with. Hopefully it's good. Okay, and with that, I'm gonna head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.